Welcome back, everyone, to the Journeymen Boxing Studios, and this is Double Jab Radio. I'm your host, Rich Quinones, as we continue to talk a little West Coast, Midwest Coast boxing, if you will, and on the line, a fast-rising, up-and-coming young bantamweight, just 22 years of age, already 5-0. That, of course, is Oscar Mojica. And Oscar, first and foremost, appreciate you jumping on Double Jab Radio, and I'll tell you, nice success early on in your career, and how does it feel to be as young as you are and already be undefeated with a couple bouts under your belt?
Yeah, man, well, thanks for having me. I feel like I'm at a real fast pace. I'm already 5-0, and my upcoming bout on February 12th is going to be an 8-rounder, so I think I'm on the fast track. Well,
it's interesting because you had well over 150 amateur fights, and I would venture to guess that having that type of experience, really, when you look at it, you might be 22 years of age, but you would probably say to yourself, you might fight like a 24, 25-year-old because you've had 150 amateur. How has all that amateur time in the ring helped you?
It's really helped me, and the transition from amateur to pro, it hasn't been too difficult on me. I started boxing since I was 6 years old, so boxing's been my whole life, so I just felt really comfortable with it.
What's interesting, too, is, you go back early on, as I alluded to, you're 5-0, and you're just coming off a win back in July, I believe, against Joe Garcia. So you mentioned you have a fight coming up in another month or so, which is great. It's going to keep you active. But I want to go back to your second-round TKO win over Ilio David Ruiz, because for a young fighter, forget about the knockout in the second round. It was how you did it. It was almost, you went downstairs, then you came back upstairs. So to me, it looked like a compact left hook to the body and then a check hook upstairs. And typically, guys your age that are young and raw, you're not supposed to be throwing those kind of punches. So where did that arsenal come from?
It's just training, man. My dad brought me up really well, and he's a real old school guy. So, going from the body to the top is something we practice on a daily basis, and it's one of my favorite combinations.
Yeah, it proved deadly because it was one of those lights out kind of knockouts. Going back to the amateur record, because a lot of Amis that I speak to, and then they turn pro early on in their 20s, just like you have, they always tell me that it's the work that they've been able to do because of the scoring system in the amateurs, the shots to the head, snapping back the head is an 8 count to protect the fighter, but more or less the body shots. So I would venture to guess, again, all that experience has helped you probably learn to go to the body early on in a fight to kind of set the pace, maybe slow down your opponent. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, definitely, man. I love working the body, and it's easy. First place I go to, it's how I start off all my fights, and if I'm given the chance, I'm able to slow my opponents down, and from there it's easy work.
How would you describe your style in the ring, and to follow up to that, do you emulate any pro or anyone that maybe you grew up watching, or do you have basically your own style? You try to develop your own style?
I think I have my own style. I think I'm just really well-rounded. I try not to get too focused on one style. I try to be as well-rounded as I can, and just make the fight easier on me, and just feel comfortable. Growing up, though, my dad showed me a lot of videos of Alexis Arguello.
Oh, sure.
He's a guy from way back, so that's kind of the only person I emulate.
Did he show you fights against him and Aaron the Hawk Pryor?
Yeah, I've seen him with Aaron Pryor and a bunch of other guys.
Oh yeah, those were wars back then with those guys. So it's good. It sounds like your father, obviously respects and understands the history of boxing, which is pretty refreshing. How about yourself going forward? Talk a little bit about your fight coming up in February. Again, confirm the date. Do you have an opponent? And you mentioned it's going to be a 6-rounder or an 8-rounder?
It's going to be an 8-rounder for the Texas title. It's going to be February 12th, and the guy's from Mexico. He's a real durable opponent. He has over 50 fights, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, he's won, I think, 30, and he's lost around 25, but, that means nothing. He's fought, a bunch of really good guys, and some guys, ex-champion.
An 8-rounder for your 5th, 6th professional fight, that's that tells me all I need to know, because you've had 2 6-rounders. So you had 3 4-rounders to start, obviously, as a pro, and then you've had 2 6-rounders. Now you're going to jump to an 8-rounder, which leads me to believe you're right. Your team, your management team, they're moving you at a good pace. And You had 3 fights in 2014. How active would you like to be in 2015? Because the key to a young fighter is that activity and that consistency. So in a perfect world, how many times would you fight in 2015?
I'm hoping to get into at least 5, 6 times. Hopefully by the end of the year, if all goes good, I could fight my first 10-rounder, and that's the goal.
And how about your thought on the bantamweight division? I mean, you're still young. You're 22. Do you think you're going to fill out a little more, or is this where you want to stay?
I feel pretty good at 118. I'm going up from 115. All my amateur career, I fought 108, so obviously in the pros, the bigger the weight you fight, the better the money is, and the easier it is to find opponents. So right now I'm going to stay at 118 for a little while, but probably in a few years I will make the jump to 122.
What's been the toughest transition, or I should say, any challenge you've had to overcome from amateur into the pro? Is there something like a bad habit or tendency that you carried over from the amateurs to the pros that quickly was corrected? Talk a little bit about making that adjustment.
Probably the most difficult thing for me was just the weight. Since I weighed so little, I wasn't able to get many fights little weight, so I had to move up to 115, and it was just about building my body right and the right muscle power, and just being able to balance everything out. And
I know, because again, it's always good to have some good people in your corner. You're with Adrian Clark, and he's doing some great things in the world of boxing, especially down in Dallas and down in Texas. So what's it like to have a guy like that, young guy, pretty up and coming in the boxing world, in your corner and helping you out along the way?
Me and Adrian just started working as of recent. I feel like he's going to keep me a lot more busy, and he's been taking care of me really good. This fight that he found for me, I feel like it's a big chance for me, and it's just on me to take advantage of it. And I know if I win, he'll keep giving me better fights.
That's the name of the game, my friend. All right, before I let you get out of here, just let the listening audience again know when you're going to be fighting, the date and where, and your opponent, and then also if you want to push anything you're doing with social media, direct people to your Facebook or Twitter page. Have at it.
Alrighty. My name's Oscar Mojica. I'll be fighting February 12th in Dallas, Texas at the Flight Museum. And I'll be fighting my first 8-round fight for the Texas title against Alejandro Moreno. He's a really tough opponent. And you guys can follow me on Facebook at Oscar Mojica, and at Twitter, Oscar Mojica, and on Instagram at Flaco Explosivo 92.
He's very busy. He's young. He's active. He's undefeated. He's 5-0. He's Oscar Mojica. Oscar, we appreciate you jumping on board a couple minutes on this edition of Double Jab Radio.
Thanks, man.
So there you have it. Good stuff from a very young and talented fighter, Oscar Mojica, 5-0 from Dallas, Texas. We certainly look forward to watching his career in the ring progress. Later on in the week here on Double Jab Radio, we'll stick with the theme of young boxers from the Dallas, Texas area. We'll spend a little time with Steve Belmontes, younger brother of Jerry Belmontes. Steve just made his pro debut, a victorious one. Also 12-0, Ray Jimenez, who wants to be very active in 2015. Another talented young fighter as well. This edition of Double Jab Radio is brought to you by Deportes Casanova Products, Casanova Boxing Gloves, and our good friends at the AC Pal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Visit them online and also support them at AtlanticCityPal.org. And as always, visit us online at JourneymanBoxing.com. Become a member. We'll take you beyond the fight. Keep updated on all the boxing news and interact with me on Twitter, RichQ on Q. And please feel free to follow our exclusive photographer, Sheree Shugogi, S. Shugogi, on Twitter as well for great boxing photos, amateur and pros. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of Double Jab Radio, live from the Journeyman Boxing Studios. I've been your host, Rich Quinones. As always, gracias por tu tiempo, mis amigos. And we'll talk to you next time, ringside.